A little backwards audio. Knowing Thunder doesn't have any crazy secrets. There's no. This isn't satanic. I don't hear anything weird. I just hear backwards audio. That was Thunder. Love walked in the door. I'm not allowed to play it the normal way because they'll ding me. But maybe one day I'll get permission. Until then, I'm playing it backwards. It is
no whammies.
no whammies. it is the Yet Come On Show. The Yet Come On Show. I'm Southside Steve, and that is my co-host Brett Barney. And on with us, a special guest, very special to me, and a sponsor of the Yet Come On Show. It is the one, the only, David Markwell of Ridgeline Counseling. Yet Come On. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope one day, Steve, that you can be able to play that song forward. I just kept hearing these backward masking messages like, love Steve, love Brett. They're the best. They're the best. That's what I kept hearing over and over again.
See, and you're a professional. So maybe it's true. Maybe there's a reason the band's like, you don't want it forward. You want it backward. We're getting more listeners for you. And that's it. And I got to tell you, most people, I watch us on YouTube because I like to see us. But Brett, our numbers have really grown on the other podcasts as far as people that do not watch us on YouTube. So I'm pretty happy about that. The show's getting bigger and bigger, and that's good. We've got our 100th and
today's
show
right here.
Now, this is it. I was going to tell you.
Wow.
This is so, David, this is pretty special. You're on it. It is our 100th show today with Brett and I.
Fantastic.
And who better to have on than David Markwell, a professional, because we're all crazy. I know I am a little, otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I know Brett's crazy to live where he lives.
Can I just throw something out right here?
What?
I am being FaceTimed right now and just got told my brother and sister-in-law are pregnant. Like my wife is standing right, just walked out and goes, hey, just so you know, they're pregnant. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, can you tell your wife to keep the personal crap out? We're being professional here. We're being professional.
I'm sorry. If you saw me, I'm like,
All right. So
Congratulations.
it's not your brother. It's your brother through her or your sister.
Both of her brothers
are both
currently
pregnant.
are expecting children now.
Oh, see, Dave, there's a perfect one. Both her brothers, they're gay. It's an incestual relationship. They're seeing each other, and they've adopted a child. Dave, help us. What happened?
There's some work to be done.
There is some work. There's some meetings to be had. Ridgeline Counseling helps everybody. No, that's pretty great news. So she has two bros, and they're both with child now. They're significant others. That's great.
Yep.
Looks like you got some nephews or nieces coming your way there, player.
I know one of them's a nephew. So,
Okay.
But obviously this one you won't know till.
Well, you're creepy.
Whatever.
Guess who just became creepy? Uncle Brett. You.
Come on, man. I already am. My brother's got 2 kids. I got a niece and a nephew already.
I've already told you you're going to be creepy until you talk to David. When Dave passes muster on you, when David Markwell says Brett is sane, then I know you're not creepy. But you've never gone under the watchful eye of one David Markwell of Ridgeline Counseling. And you can do it online, or you can do it in person. I think, Dave, you do both now because of COVID, correct?
I do primarily now online, and I do have some therapists that are doing in person. But now Brett's got a great idea in the sense of doing it now because he's married, and that would be a great opportunity to kind of like do some fine tuning. And not that you need it, but it could be that.
Oh no, I probably need it. Steve knows me pretty well.
No, they need it, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'll just tell you, David, it's a sexual relationship. I don't even know if they really even know each other's middle names. It's sex. Do you know? You don't know her middle name.
I know.
Made a joke and you don't know.
Yeah, it's her old last name now.
What?
Because she took my last name,
and
took her name, moved it to her middle, and dumped her middle.
Oh, see that now. My wife and David handled Amanda and I. We went to marriage counseling prior to getting married. So it was like, let's make sure we're right for each other. We knew we were, but let's iron out any little issues. And I looked at my wife. I'm like, you're keeping your middle name. You're taking my last name and you're tossing the crap out of your last name. I'm not dealing with your last name. I'm not. You're mine. Boom. It's the last time I ever had any decision go my way. Ever since I married her, you didn't tell me, Dave, I was going to lose. And even when I think I'm winning, I'm losing. That's what you got going, Brett. Welcome to marriage. Dave, you've been married for a while.
I have, yeah. It's a learning. Every day's a learning curve. Every day's a learning
Really?
curve.
It
Yeah.
doesn't come a point to where you're like, oh, we're good. There's nothing else to learn. Y'all been together for how many years?
Oh wow. I'll have to stop and think about that for a while. It's been a while, put it that way.
Damn, Dave doesn't even know how long. Both y'all's marriages are based on sex. You don't know anything. I'm the only one that knows I've been married for 7 years, dating the same girl for 10 years, that haven't kissed another girl since March 10th of 2012. I got all that down, which tells you my wife's had 2 children and I haven't been laid in a while. It's stressful.
See, you're the one that makes me worried. I need to send you to go talk to both of her brothers.
Yeah, I hear you. The good thing about the Yeah Come On show is we work shit out. Dave, I'm not going to cuss a whole lot because you're a professional. Brett, tone it down, trash. But I will tell you, I mean, you are. I mean, seriously, you have a degree, but it's from Alabama.
I was about to say Roll Tide.
White trash.
Come on.
But white trash. But Dave, you're a deep dude, and I want to thank you first off for being a friend. Thank you for doing what you do very well. And thank you for being a sponsor of the Yeah Come On show. Ridgeline Counseling has 2 locations. One is in Marietta, Georgia, very easy to get to. I think I've driven there about 20 times. And then you've got one, actually, of all places, if you're up there doing some cabin time, he can help you. He's up. Where exactly are you located? I know you're in Blue Ridge, correct?
It's in McKaysville, which is right outside of Blue Ridge. It's about 8 to 10 miles outside of Blue Ridge. What's interesting about McKaysville, it sits right next to Copper Hill, Tennessee. So there's a blue dotted line painted down the street. You step on one side, you're in Tennessee. You step on the other side, you're in Georgia. It's a neat little town.
Oh, that is cool. Is that where the Markwells will reside when you ever retire, if you retire?
Yes.
I like it. You know why? Because I can tell it's cool and unique. There's nothing unique about Marietta, Dave.
Other than the big chicken, that's about it.
Oh, he got you on that. He got you on that.
He did. Hey, look, man, there's nothing. Look, I can joke about my state and my cities, okay? So don't take it personal. Mariettians, we love you, man. I'm just having a little fun. I spent a lot of time up that way. I do want to find out a little more about you. And Brett, as always, has some interesting questions. But, you know, we're trying to do the podcast a little quicker. Dave, I'm going to come to you. We're going to need a new commercial from you. I want to know what's going on. We're also getting a new commercial from our other 2 sponsors. I'll mention Circle 285 for all your insurance needs. Go to them for a free quote. You're probably paying too much. You've probably been with the insurance company you're with for a long, long time and didn't think it could get better and less money. It can. And I know my insurance company, I've found out, you know, through a lot of people that I've been with for over 25 years, I don't have to mention what state they're out of. That was good. Everybody got that without me saying? Or why I like farming. But I just want to say that I've been with them for a long, long, long time. And I have heard that if you have an issue, they'll bounce you. And some woman I saw in our neighborhood thing saying that, I'm like, go to Circle 285, proud sponsor of the Yeah Come On show. And she's like, ooh, that show's trashy. I'm like, no, it's not. That's a joke. She didn't really say that. I thought it'd be funny. But that's one of our sponsors, oxygenfinancial.com with Ted Jenkin, where we used to do the show live before the damn pandemic. We may go back there, but Brett's schedule doesn't work with an afternoon taping any longer. He doesn't get home till 7:30. Great. I love being up late at night to do a podcast. Thanks, Brett. And then there's Ridgeline Counseling, who I can tell you right now, we're going to joke around with this guy. We're going to find out a little bit more about David. But I can tell you, when you're in his office and he's talking to you, it's so easy. I mean, I brought up some dark stuff, like my lust for you, Brett. That came out. Never thought it could, and it did. We discussed
apple bottom jean, or the
And David helped me with it. He said, Brett's not good enough for you, Steve. Let it go. He's not
Right.
good looking enough. Let it go. And so I stayed with my wife, and it's been perfect. But on a serious note, I want to talk about what you do for people, and let's get you some customers, because there's a lot of crazy people out there. When I say customer, I don't mean that in a bad way, nor crazy, but I think a lot of people have kind of lost their way. I think people were already struggling. The world's on fire, in my opinion. We've never been more polarized in our life, in our own country. Monument statues are being taken down. People are protesting. People are being ugly to each other. We're split down the middle on our politics. Then you look at Afghanistan, Haiti, and everything. I mean, it's enough out there to make you not even want to go outside. Then there's the crime in our city, which is taken up a notch. So all those things in consideration, I think it's a good time to talk to somebody. I want to talk about the two of you real quick before we get into your career, David, if that's okay. There's three of us. It looks like a Brady Bunch. It's a mini bunch. It's not a Brady Bunch. There's only three. There should be like 8.
Which Brady would I be?
If you were one?
Yeah.
God, I want to say Bobby, but you're like
I'm just glad you didn't say Alice. That was the
no
home cleaner, right?
No, I think you're kind of I would put you kind of middle of the road late. I give you Peter. I think I would take Greg all day long.
Was that Bonaducci?
Peter? Who?
Wasn't Bonaducci one of the
No,
Brady?
Peter Knight is
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea which one is which, who is who, and who played
Oh,
what.
wow. Okay.
Oh, boy, he's young. That's not your fault. It's your parents. They didn't have sex soon enough. Don't worry about it. But I will tell you, in this mini Brady Bunch, look at the 3 cubes if you're watching on YouTube. One of us has not had COVID. The other 2 have. Raise your hand if you've been sick.
That doesn't work well for audio, but
yeah.
Everybody watching on YouTube just saw it.
I'm just trying to increase our damn YouTube numbers. Hey, people, watch us. No, I did not raise my hand. So cheers to surviving and having COVID. David Markwell, we kept it a secret. My friend Dave was very, very ill, and I stress that. He was one of the ones that was, in harm's way in a big way, as far as hospitalization, talking to people, lungs, having to take it easy, and a true scare. Then Brett Barney, if you want to know why we've run a couple of repeats, just got over COVID like 3 days ago. You've had COVID for the past couple of weeks. There you go. Go ahead. Give us a COVID cough. So there you go.
Still out the damn cough.
So we'll start with you, David. Tell us when, where, and basically what you went through.
Well, it's interesting because, we're now in the middle of August. Last July, at the very end of July, I woke up on a Saturday morning and I had this really strange sensation that I just couldn't smell anything. So I went into the bathroom and I started spraying stuff right into my face, like cologne and antiperspirant and things, and nothing. It was just like blank. And so I thought, okay, that's not good. Because I actually at that point was doing a hybrid of in-person, about 25%, but mostly internet.
Yeah.
And so I called one doctor and they said, well, it just could be a sinus infection. And I thought, well, I might believe that. But then I decided to go get tested. And I remember, they now have the rapid test, but they still do it. But this is the one that they stick way back into the back of your head.
Yeah, they touch your brain with that one.
Exactly. And she told me, I knew it was going to go in a long way because the doctor said, whatever you do, don't hit my arm because I may break it off in your nose and then we've got a bigger problem. So I thought, okay, crap, we're in trouble. So yeah. I've never felt so violated in my life. It went in and she twisted it and she pulled it out. And then they called me the next day and said, you tested positive. She said, you'll have about 7 days of some really rough days.
Okay.
However, within a day, I was running a fever about 103 to 104, and it continued for about 14 days. Ended up going to see a urgent care doctor to check my lungs out. My oxygen level dropped into the 80s. It's supposed to be in the upper 90s. It dropped to the 80s. She said, you're going to the emergency room. So they sent me to the emergency room, and within about, 15, 20 minutes, they were already talking about intubation. And I was thinking,
Oh, God.
wow, just put me on oxygen. And she said, no, we can't keep your oxygen levels up. So I laid there for about, I don't know how many hours in the emergency room. And they said, another person came in and said, we need to intubate you. And I said, I don't know. I don't know about this. And so I gave some thought to it. And I said, I'm going home. If I'm going to pass away, I want to pass away home. And they said, well, you'll have to sign out against, medical advice, the AMA thing. And I said, bring the paper here. I'm going home. So
That is heavy. So
I
heavy.
signed the paperwork and went home. And it really was a struggle for, I don't know how many weeks. Went to a pulmonologist, got my lungs checked, had double pneumonia.
Damn.
And then they treated me for pulmonary embolisms, blood clots in my lungs. I've never been on a blood thinner before. They put me on that for about 3 to 4 months. Finally, I was actually being pushed around in a wheelchair for about 4 to 5 weeks. I didn't have the strength. My heart had racing heart and all this. So finally in February of this year, so from last July, end of July to February, middle of February of this year, I finally got a clean bill of health on my lungs and everything. My strength is not completely back, but I love it. I love breathing clearly. That feels good.
Hey, God bless you, man. And I got to tell you, I'm not even going to over exaggerate. I think you were truly at death's door, dude. I mean, this is where we've lost people. It's hard to say anybody even listening to the podcast hasn't lost anybody either close to them or a friend of a friend for sure. And everybody will tell you it's around that incubation. It's that once you're in the hospital, once you're on all that oxygen, and then, we all know you can't be around family. So that's another reason I think it was pretty courageous what you did. Your family can come in there wearing 3 masks, but at least see you. Sons and daughters can see fathers, friends can see friends, even if it's looking through a window. But we know once you went into the hospital, that was it. There's so many people passed away not seeing a loved one at all. So that was ballsy. You got to admit, what was your wife telling you? Stay, or was she cool with you coming home?
She said, come home, come
Okay.
home. And
she had to be absolutely freaked out.
Absolutely.
God. Oh man. And tell us at that time, and Brett, we're going to get to the fact that, you were kissing trees in your neighborhood and that's how you caught it. But I want to know with you,
I don't
David.
call my neighbors trees.
I know what kind of nasty neighborhood you live in. Okay.
Yeah, I got the drunk guy that yells at Tom Brady in the middle of the night.
Dave, you live in a very nice neighborhood. Brett does not. Let's just leave it at that. But when you come home and you're doing all this, then there's the career. Now, career comes second to you. So tell us how you handled that, because there's so many people that are dependent on you. I know there's people like me that are coming to you for marriage counseling before, or people like Brett that may come see you, because he is married, or just somebody going through some stuff. But there are people that really, truly, in my opinion, depend on you, correct? That need to see you, need to talk to you.
And I've always count that and have a level of gratitude for that. But what happened was after I was in the ER and checked myself out, I attempted to do some limited sessions online, but I just simply didn't have the airway to do it.
Right.
And so I ceased counseling, and we notified all my clients. I ceased counseling from August, and then I finally started back in a part-time basis. The 1st of October, we're talking like it was like I had cut down about 75% of my caseload. And
right.
What I'm grateful for, truthfully, is, and it really meant a lot to me, is the majority of my clients waited for me to come back, which meant a lot to me. It's kind of like, this little beacon of hope that, okay, David's, Dr. Markwell, David's coming back, and they waited for me, and it meant a lot. And I had so many people when I, would come back after it was really January when I really hit full cycle again. And, a lot of them would say, hey, we missed you. And, we just kept waiting for you, tried to struggle through it or whatever. We told everybody we would refer them to other people. But those that chose to stay and wait, which I'm so grateful for.
Well, if there's one thing you're great at, Dr. Markwell, it's being a counselor. So we're glad you're here with us. Love the fact you're on the Come On show. So we'll come back because I want to talk to you about your career, and Brett's going to ask you some questions, and I don't know where those questions are going to go. I'd love to tell you I did. I don't. And
I'm gonna have him analyze something that's been going on in my brain.
nice. Okay. Can't wait to hear what's going on in your head. Cause I know that basically the relationship based on sex has not had sex for a few weeks because you've had some COVID. So tell us how it happened for you, Brett, and what it's done to your work. And, where are you right now? I know you're able to do the podcast, so I assume you're back at work.
Yeah, I'm back at work. I tested negative. What is it? Like 3-4 days ago, and very happy about that. Getting to return to the office. I think I was like one of the first people in on Monday. I was excited to get back.
There you go.
I was sitting here on this little couch, just feeling awful. But yeah, it all started for me. I woke up one morning and I felt awful. I just had a temperature, and I could feel like my head hurt. And I just felt off, and I took my temperature, and my wife was gone at the time, and I had 101 and some change. So me being me goes, this is nothing, probably just some crap or, I got going on. Go outside. I sweated out 2 hours, break the temperature back to normal. Was like, I can take this. Still going into work, and it felt the only way I can really say like the first thing I had. If you've ever put like a clown nose on, they do that like red nose day. If you took that and had it reversed and put it inside your face where you can feel it like underneath your eyes and in the back of your nose, that's kind of how I felt. Like I felt like I just had something jammed right there in my face. But I just thought it was allergies.
Thanks for making it weird. I've never even thought about a clown nose inverted into my nose.
Yeah, and so I just thought it was allergies. My wife was fine, everything. And then the next day I'm going into work, and I still feel that, and I'm getting a little bit of a cough, and I'm sitting there, and she gets up, and I get a text message from her. She's like, I'm not feeling that well. And she sent me a picture of the thermometer, and she was 101 and change. And I ran outside and I called her. I was like, okay, a few weeks ago, I had allergies for 2-3 days when it was, it's like, you're here in Georgia and you get those summer showers. It's 90 in the morning, then it rains in the afternoon, goes down to 70, but with the humidity, it feels like it's 400, and it just messes a lot with my sinuses, which is pretty normal for me. It's happened my whole life. And once I knew that she had a temperature, I called her. I was like, okay, ran to my car. I grabbed a mask, ran up in my office. I grabbed computer, everything, threw it in my book bag, was like, I didn't say anything to anybody. I walked out.
No, you don't want to create a, cry where everybody's like, somebody's got COVID, hit the deck.
Oh, well, there was kind of an outbreak going on, like with some people that I worked with. And so I was like, okay, not like a big, like, not like, oh my gosh, there's like 50 people, but like a couple people had gotten it recently. And I was like going, okay, is it my turn now? And went and got tested positive. After I'd gotten home, it was like,
I just wanted you to see Auburn for a second. Go ahead.
Lost my taste when I got home within a few hours, lost smell, had chills, had no energy, had no appetite. I lost 12.
Same thing for you, Dave. No appetite, chills, same thing.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight just because I didn't want to eat. Didn't feel like eating. Absolutely.
Well, both you and Brett, y'all don't have the physique I do. I mean, y'all could lose a couple of pounds. So I'm glad that worked out for both of you. And I say that with all the love in the world.
12 pounds in 3 days, and I've already gained it all back.
Way to go, Brett.
But yeah, I felt bad because my wife had it, and literally though, every symptom, I had them all. And anybody that goes back and watches the podcast, we tried to do one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And
Steve was like,
dying.
I told him, I was like, you got to talk to as much of this as possible. And the one time I try and tell a story, I'm like turning my mic off, coughing, and that it was kind of at the peak. And I was like, okay, I can push through. I can get one. Because I just wanted to accomplish something. And then I had to hit him up and be like, I just can't, I got to get better. I can't do anything right now.
No, and I totally understand. And, we had some great replays, and that, we've talked to some cool people, so it was fine. We'd lined up a couple of cool guests. I'm like, well, we're not doing these shows. We'll stop. Cause I believe in the team effort. So I wanted you to get well. I'm glad you're well. And Dave, so both of you, you're not 100% either one of you, or are you?
Well, for me, I'm back in the sense of like my lung capacity and things like that. But with regard to like my ultimate strength, like
Sure.
I'm also older too. But
No,
I
Dave,
don't.
don't make a mistake about it. People don't realize you're a big man. I would think you're built like a lineman. I would think you're pretty damn strong.
So I'm back to about 90% strength.
Okay, so Dave could kick your ass if he wanted. All right, that's good.
But I know, Brett, you were saying that you not back because you're still coughing and everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I have the cough, and I think it gets worse when I do something like this or I get behind a microphone because I start getting self-conscious in my mind. Like, I don't want to cough. So I start thinking about the cough the whole time in the back of my head. And Steve knows what I'm talking about, having been behind a microphone for so long. And I think, like, if I sat here and was just watching TV, I might cough like 2 or 3 times, but I probably coughed 300 times since this show started. Just like, just like keep clearing something because it just feels like someone's in my chest just poking me like on the inside of my sternum. I'm like, ha ha ha.
How's your wife doing? And Dave, your wife did not catch it, correct? No, none of your family members?
She had it for one day. It was really interesting.
Oh.
Literally, she had it where she felt like she had like some asthma-like um, symptoms, and it lasted for one day, and then it was back to normal. It was really interesting.
Wow. Thank God. But Brett, your wife
Yeah,
had it.
yeah, Messina's fine. She's back to normal. She doesn't have a cough or anything. I just have it. And I have this this is so weird, and I don't know if this happened to you, Dr. Dave. I still have this, like, it's on and off. I get this smell that I can smell, and the only way to describe it is it's a mixture between like something metallic and spoiled fruit.
Yeah, I still get it every once in a while.
Yeah, like I'll get in my car, and if my car is like hot when I come out of work or something, like I smell this weird thing, and I smelt it the whole time when I had no smell or taste or anything. But now everything's back. Like I made tacos the other night. I'm smelling them like, this is awesome. This is the greatest thing ever. And I was sitting there the whole time, like feeling awful for myself, going, what's the first thing I'm going to eat once this thing is over? Chinese food.
There you go. That's great. Well, I'm glad both of you are healthy. It was a kick in the butt. David, what you went through, scary as hell. Brett, what you went through, a major inconvenience, at least for the Yeah Come On show and your job for a couple of weeks, but you're okay. Both of you. So I'm glad for that. Dave, I just wanted to know, as a sponsor, I know we met through a friend, which I wish I could mention, but it's a big time attorney that I know that went to you, and he even said, this is the guy you go to. And there was also, for me, because I'd gotten in trouble at work, they're like, all right, you have anger issues. I'm like, yeah, with that individual, that's it. But they're like, you need to go to anger management. So it was another thing to go to you for, how do I deal with my anger management? And, oh yeah, this is my wife. I'm about to get married. We have 22 years between us. Is this going to work? And I learned that Amanda's an ox and I'm a lion. That's deep, but it's not deep when you see Dr. David Markwell. So my question to you is, how long have you been doing it? And at what point, did you decide that I'm good at this? Were you just that guy that solved problems in high school for people? Or how did you know this would be a great career for you?
Well, and I'm not trying to downplay the part. I still struggle with whether I'm still good at it or not, truthfully. And I'm not saying that to get the accolades. I really sometimes question, like, people are really coming to talk to me about their problems. But I've been doing this for about 21 years. I've always, my mom honestly was the one that always had this ability just to talk with people about problems and so forth. And I think I just kind of watched that. But for myself, it's been about 21 years of being fully licensed, and been working with every age. I've worked with children as young as 5, and then I've had couples, married couples that are coming in their 70s. And so it's been a very interesting mix of clients through the years.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, when I've come in the waiting room, at least when Amanda and I were coming, there was a kid that I guess was, when I would come out, I didn't need to go through the crying room. I was okay. I just want everybody to know that. I came straight on out the front door like a champ. All right. Cried in my truck. That's what I did. No crying with Dave. No crying. But I did see a young kid in there, and I knew you were seeing him. And I, as a child, had seen counselors. I had to go to a private school, all based on conduct and my just absolute stubbornness to adults, not being intimidated by adults, and basically doing what I thought I wanted to do and needed to do, and very strong willed. A lot of it, and the conduct issues were off the chain, like fifth grade, sitting behind the door because I was a disturbance in class, and it was that bad. So I had to go to counseling. I had a hiccup with my father. I didn't like the way, I literally reasoned with this man when I was 12 going, why do you think you have the right to hit me? Why, and my dad's like, what? This is what parents do. Don't talk to me this way. So I don't know where I even was coming from with it. But, I understand as a kid with counseling, and believe me, if I saw signs and I'm watching my son, I'm like, please, God, don't be exactly like me. But if he shows signs, you'll be seeing my son. But it's just, you want to figure it out. And I think with you, and one reason I'm glad you're a sponsor of the Yeah Come On show, because God knows we joke about everything, but you have one life to live, at least my beliefs, and I think most people's beliefs. Hopefully you believe in a hereafter. But while you're here, if you're hung up on something that happened to you as a kid, or you're hung up on a bad parent or a step parent, or you've been through something and it affects you still to this day, don't even wear somebody out with your baggage. To me, I think you have to talk to somebody. You have to unload it. There's no being proud. Be the best person you can be while you're here. That's my opinion. And obviously I think you believe that. And that's why I think counseling could be for almost anybody. Be the best person you can be. If there's anything that's messing with you, get it out, get rid of it.
No, I agree. I think pretty much my philosophy is that, our purpose in life really is all about relationships, and trying to make the best of relationships. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't always occur for all kinds of reasons. But I think at the end of the day, if we can leave this world and the majority of people that we interacted with in our life felt better around us, then I think we accomplished something in our life.
There you go. It's that simple. Do unto others, baby. Now, Brett Barney, Dr. David Markwell is there. He's sitting there. Keep in mind what he's been through. Watch your questions. Be kind.
Oh no, actually, so I mean, I'll be vulnerable on this because I think
this ought to be good. You're gonna be vulnerable.
I think it's probably something that I can't be the only one going through this. It's been on my mind, and as you both know, like I lost my job at Cumulus. I'd had it for like 9.5 years. I was so used to everything. I knew everybody, and then I got this new job, and my job's great. I've been there for 9 months now, but I started noticing, like I was getting frustrated, and I didn't know what it was and this is my thought process currently. It's when I worked at Cumulus, I lived 4 miles from the radio station. I went into work at 4 in the morning. I get off 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night sometimes. And a lot of times during the year, because I umpired baseball on the side for so long, which I can't do anymore just because I don't have time, I would leave there and I'd go out on a baseball field, and I'd be out on a baseball field till 11 o'clock at night, and then come home, shower, get in bed at midnight, get back up at 4. And I did it, and it was no problem. It was no problem at all. I mean, I did that all through my 20s, 32 now. And then I get this new job. I'm driving 80 miles round trip. I'm sitting behind a desk for 9 hours. And sometimes it feels like you're standing in the ocean and like you're just getting hit by waves. And some days the waves are a little bit bigger than other days. And then you add on top, like outside of that 9 hours, you got the hour drive in, hour drive home. Next thing I know, it's like I'm up at this isn't bad, 7 a.m. But
you're starting to lose it, aren't you, Brett?
And I started thinking, I'm going like what's going on in my brain? And I start looking back, going, okay, well, what just happened over the last year? Over the last year, I'd lost my job, even though I was working some part-time jobs, but I would get up, I'd get to work at 8 in the morning. I'd be done by noon. I'd be sitting around relaxing, hanging out with my wife at the time, going and playing golf. And I'm going, okay, did I just get so used to these really short weeks? Because like my whole life, I've always worked. I've had a job since I was 13. And it was just like, did I get so used to this? Because I look at it and go, there were weeks 5 years ago where I might have worked 80 hours, 85 hours, and it was nothing. And now if I have a week where I go 65 hours, I can see a difference in my attitude. And I don't know if that's something from working less during COVID that I got comfortable with this situation, or if it could also be the fact that I'm older now and my life's just changed.
Oh, so you're asking Dave for assistance right now, live on our podcast, the Come On Show. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and like I said, like some days the waves feel bigger than other days. I feel like I'm body surfing and riding the wave in, and I'm having a good time.
Hold on, Dave. He's on. All right, he's on the clock. Go ahead. I'll keep up with it.
You can take it out of Steve's pocket. Steve, you got me on this one, right?
Yes, I do. Of course, I do.
Well, let me ask you, Brett, because I think I don't think you're by yourself. First of all, in this, because the last year, probably a year and a half or so, our whole life for everybody was kind of turned upside down for a period of time, that for sure. And you've also, and I'm just saying this too, in this last year, you've also had a lot of life changes in your life, not just your job, but you're married. I know the two of you lost a really good friend recently, and you've got to deal with those kinds of things too. And I know other people are watching this. The question that you have to ask yourself is, are you content and satisfied with where you're at? You don't have to answer that right now, but a lot of times when we are not satisfied, it's like making a trip with, on a vacation. Okay. There are sometimes when that trip from point A to point B is very enjoyable because we're excited about the people we're with and we're excited about where we're going. And then there are other times in which we're making that trip from point A to point B, and it seems like we're never going to get there. And it sometimes could be related to the people we're around. It could be where we're going, all those kind of circumstances. So I don't know if it's a level of just, like you said, a change in moving from COVID times to now, a lot of those hours. You can't measure it though by number because you were working more hours before. So you can't say that it's not hours.
And the funny thing is, so recently, and we haven't actually talked about this on the podcast, I don't think, about 2 months ago, I picked up a second job. So I'm working 7 days a week now, a lot of times. And I'm working at WSB on weekends and doing some night stuff there. And that's actually helped a lot of whatever this anxiety was. And it's like I hold just myself to this certain expectation and I don't feel like I'm achieving it sometimes. And maybe I overanalyze everything, if you can't tell.
Well, and
I can, if that matters.
That's exactly. Well, no, you would know, Steve, because you guys, know each other very well. But you just said something, Brad, I want you to realize is that a lot of times when we're frustrated, the frustration is coming from when expectations and reality aren't matching up. And that space that's in between there is where a lot of things like disappointment, frustration, aggravation, and all that begins to happen. And that can happen in relationships. It can happen in a job. If my expectation is that I'd like to be at this point in my life, but I look at my life and I'm not close to that, there's that spacing. And that's where all the stuff gets in there and creates the frustration and things. Now you're starting to feel like you're getting some, like the stuff on the weekends and stuff. Maybe you're beginning to feel like you're getting back into, the old Brett. Maybe that's going to help you some, and that anxiety and stuff will start going away. But I wouldn't worry about it too much right now. But at the same time, though, I appreciate you telling me about it. I really do.
No, it's
I don't. I feel burdened with it. I feel like I've got to call him later after the show and go, Brad, are you okay as a friend? Thanks, Brett.
I know. I didn't mean to sidetrack it, but
yeah.
And I can't. There's no way that I'm alone, because I can tell you there are days that I get in the car, and when I first started my job, traffic was lighter. I was getting to work in 25 minutes. There are mornings I get up now, and I'm going, okay, I get to work in 25 minutes. I look at Waze, boom, it's an hour 15 to get to work. And at first, I was getting really, really mad just driving through the city, just really mad. And then it hit me one day. I was talking to a guy I work with. I was like, there's nothing I can do about that. Sit in the car. I pop on Bailey and South Side. I drive for an hour and 15 minutes, and I get there when I get there. And that's kind of helped me calm myself, because I've never really had a commute like this ever.
Do you want me to start on the morning show? I don't mind, looking out for it. Do you want me to start going like, whatever, but it's okay, Brad. No, I mean, I'll do whatever you need. Yeah, I know, Brandy. Yeah, something happened. She got fired. Brad, it's okay. I will deal with whatever I got to deal with, and I will whisper to you.
No, I try never to text you during your show. I don't ever want to throw anybody off. But I know that I can't be alone because like it's just been a weird year. I mean, like I said, I worked for one company for 9.5 years when I got out of college. And the last year I've worked for Sirius XM, Fox Nation, iHeartRadio, Cox Media Group, and now Impact Partnership. I'm at 5 gigs in less than a year, and I worked for one company pretty much professionally ever since college.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been, it's weird. And I know that I can't be the only one that thinks this sometimes because life has changed for everybody.
It has. But again, one thing and this is really for everybody to remember is that when we get angry, anger is what's called a secondary emotion. All the other emotions are primary. And I'll give you an example. If I'm afraid of something and you say, well, what are you afraid of? And I go, well, I'm afraid of spiders. And then all of a sudden there's a spider in front of me and I have fear. Well, that's a primary connection between the two. Well, with anger, what's interesting is we often connect the anger to whatever is happening in our life, like traffic, okay, or something that happens at work. And it is connected to that, but it's actually secondary to other emotions underneath of it. So in other words, it may be more than anger. It might be the fact that I'm frustrated or I'm disappointed or I'm confused. Those are the primary emotions that you got to kind of work with and so forth. So a lot of times with anger, the best bet is like you do is just kind of sit back and realize this is outside of my control right now. I have no control over traffic. I do have control over what I'm listening to and just sitting back and exercise some control.
I'm there for you, Brad.
Now, I will have to ask you this because when I was sitting through COVID with my wife, as we did during quarantine, we started binge watching Sopranos again. And as you know, big Soprano fan, I got Pile My, both pictures behind me. What is the deal with the mafia and therapists for being the basis of such great entertainment? Because you have like the Analyze Me, Analyze That. Sopranos, Dr. Melfi, I didn't realize this. So I was talking to one of my buddies, and I've gone through it 4 times now. She's in every single episode. The therapist is in every episode. If you read through the IMDb, she is in every single episode. If not in a meeting, in one of Tony's dreams, in a phone call to him, in something, she has an appearance in every episode. What is with mafia and therapists?
I think that's a really good point. I didn't know she was in every one of them. I knew she was in the majority of them, but maybe like you said, a reference or an allusion to her or something. That is really interesting. I think part of it has to do with just humanity, and that even those that may be looked at as like heartless or apathetic or, cold and indifferent, that they have their own kind of sets of family issues, like, Tony had with his mom, and those kind of things. And I think they're honestly a lot of times trying to show a human side to even the mafia, not to like make the mafia okay with people, but I think it's just the fact of even people who seem to be like really cold and apathetic and hard, there's a softer side inside. So that's very interesting.
There you go. What now? Anything, Brett, outside of your own personal damn issues?
Yes. Okay. I read this article today, and it said that every time you eat a hot dog, you lose 36 minutes on your life. And it got me thinking, what is one food that if you knew every time you ate it, you would lose 30 minutes of your life, but you would still eat it anyways? And I know mine. Mine is hot wings. I'm never going to give up hot wings. I don't care. I would lose time in my life to still be able to always eat hot wings whenever I wanted.
And see, I love pizza and Italian food, but I think the one thing I couldn't resist would be a hamburger. Or ice cream. One of those.
Oh, ice cream's a good one. I started asking people this. I was like, crab legs, tacos, chocolate. I'd be dead already. What's yours, Dr. Dave? What's the one food that you don't care?
Wow. I would say can it be like a category like carbs? I mean, can it be something like not just one thing, but anything that's a carb? That's kind of like that's my weakness. But I would say probably donuts.
Oh, that's a good one too. I love donuts.
The funny thing is,
Damn, I got 3.
every time somebody says something with this, you're like, oh yeah, and I love those.
Well, you're
And
right.
the truth
I
of
mean,
it is, donuts may take off more than 30 something minutes of your life too.
probably an hour. What the hell? Yeah, we all got to go with something, right? That's what everybody says until that moment comes and you're like, I wish I had those 7 years. I wish I had them. Unless you're in a diaper. I think we all agree if you're 97, 98 and in a diaper and you're starting to forget stuff, you're like, you know what? Now's good. You know, there's a lot of people that know you come into this world in a diaper and you may leave in a diaper, but do you want to? I don't know. I don't know. Can I go days before I get put in a diaper? That'd be nice.
I know this sounds stupid, but diapers to me just seem insanely, convenient.
Yeah, for you to go ahead and do your business, but then you start looking at who wants to be around you because I can tell you right now, I have the cutest little 1-year-old, but my wife can go, whose turn is it? You don't want to change that. And people walk away from you. If they know they got to clean up, all of a sudden friends become less and less. Nobody wants to be in the room with you because they don't want to clean you.
Speaking of diapers, I got to tell you an interesting story real quick, if it's okay. I was born in Owensboro, Kentucky in October of 1963. Well, back in June of the same year, 1963, Johnny Depp was born in Owensboro, Kentucky. Now, there's only one hospital at that particular point, which was the major hospital. Now, you got to follow me on this. Okay.
I'm with you already. Just don't tell me you were in the same, whatever birthing room is Johnny. That's cool. But keep going.
No, there was about 6 months difference. So he'd already left. But here's my brush with celebrity. My thought is this: back in the 60s, they really didn't have like disposable diapers. It was cloth diapers.
Yeah.
So my thought is, Brett, you get it? I may have worn Johnny Depp's diapers.
Because they washed him. He's right. They washed him and reused him. There's a shit on the table that you have gone poo where Johnny went poo.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
That would be on my resume. There's no doubt in my mind I would put that on my resume.
Johnny and I crapped the same diaper. Hired. That's good. Brett, don't cough. You still got the COVID thing.
I know.
Be careful. Don't die on us. What else you got for Dr. David Markwell? Fine sponsor of the Yeah Come On show and a counselor. And Dave, this point might as well be as good as any other while Brett dies on us. How do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you? And again, obviously, as there's this Delta thing, we're not even going to get into it. If we kind of take a step back, obviously you're doing the online or in person, whatever you and your client, none of our business is comfortable with, but how do they get a hold of you?
Well, there are two main ways that most people can. One, of course, is they can email me at ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. So ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. They can also go to the website, which is markwelltherapy.com. And there's also a link there that they can contact us. And they can always, if they want to, the old-fashioned way, just give us a call at 770-993-9700. And they can leave a message or talk to the front office staff and then get something scheduled. I have about 10 other therapists that are there, and they see, so there are people that we can definitely get people in touch with if they need to see somebody very quickly, or if they prefer someone other than myself. That's not a problem. We can get them connected with somebody.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome, man. And that's what it's all about, getting to talk to somebody. And, it's just, I just wanted to have you on because, I knew that on our morning show, Bailey and Southside, Bailey knew how ill you were. I think he reached out to you as well. I told him, and you've just always been there for our show, and it's been tough times. And, I just wanted to have you on, and who knew that Brett would also get COVID a few weeks ago.
I know that was good timing, Brett.
I planned it.
You did, Brett. You did. But this has been our 100th show, and you will go down and come on history, Dr. David Markwell, for being our guest. But I couldn't think of a more perfect guest, somebody that helps people, somebody that's cool, and, and somebody can make you a better person. I took a step back, who would be a perfect guest? And I reached out to Dave short notice. I thought it was gonna be Brett, and I'm like, let's have a guest. Let's see if Marco wants to come on. And you're like, can't do tonight, but I can do tomorrow night. And I'm like, done. All right, here we are. So, I'm just glad that you're doing what you do. And Brett, I'm glad you're back to doing what you do. And we'll see where this these crazy times take us. One topic of conversation, we don't have to get into it, but I could get a one-liner out of each one of you. Afghanistan, watching what's going on in the world, regardless of how you vote, it's got to freak you out a little bit. It is so Vietnam-esque, I think, for a lot of people. And watching it, it's just not since I've seen people crawling up buildings to get to choppers, watching these people trying to get on planes, and the fact that we just left them shorthanded, and now we're trying to make up for it. What are your feelings, David, being that you like me, I was born in 65 to you're 63. You know a little bit about Vietnam. What are you thinking about Afghanistan?
If I were to say one word right now, it would be heartbreaking. But I say waste, but what I mean by waste is like the time and the effort that has gone into all these years of helping, then all of a sudden that's gone. And then the
20 years.
And then the heartbreak of what's going on. And what you said, people trying to climb onto planes to leave and those kind of things too. So
sad thing. You, Brett Barney?
Well, I apologize for just cracking a smile after you said heartbreaking, but Steve just spit an ice cube right into his cup in the middle, and I was like, what are you doing?
I've got skills, Brett. I've got skills, and I like to show off every once in a
while. I actually find this kind of interesting, just looking around. It's not really one word, but it's just one thought, is that I feel, though, as though, and I assume you guys would probably agree, our country's been pretty divided for a hot minute, and I'm starting to see a little bit of unity through basically what you're saying is everybody's concerned and heartbroken over what's going on after we've spent so much time, so much money, so many lives were lost, so much effort into that. And it's weird to kind of see the unity, because I know people that are on one side of the aisle and the other side of the aisle that I work with, and we all agree like everything going on here is not right, and it's shocking. So it's like this weird unity through negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one way to go. The last time I saw our country unified, we all remember September 11th. I'll never forget. For 6 months, everybody loved everybody. And 6 months and one day, I had the first bird shot at me on the interstate, and I go, well, we're back to normal, and here we go. But remember, for a minute, even if you pulled and cut somebody off, week 4, 5, nobody said anything. No horn honks, no flashing of lights. And it's like we were nice to each other. It took that. And then all of a sudden we went back to our wicked ways, So, David, obviously we'd like to have you on sooner than later. We're going to like to update a commercial for you based on what you're dealing with now, now that you're back to work, and how a person can get help. Counseling is a fantastic thing. And I'll say it too. Insurance covers it. It's affordable. And I think, man, if you even think you need it, you need it. My opinion. And I can't speak highly of more of anybody than yourself. So Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling, a proud sponsor of the Yeah Come On Show, a friend and a guest, also done his time with Bailey and Southside on Rock 100.5. Brett Barney, my co-host, I salute you. David, thank you for being on. Yeah, come on.